At that time, the elder Subhūti, in the midst of the assembly, rose from his seat. He uncovered his right shoulder, knelt on his right knee, placed his palms together in reverence, and addressed the Buddha, saying, "Rare indeed, world-honored one. The Tathagata skillfully protects and keeps in mind all bodhisattvas, skillfully entrusts and instructs all bodhisattvas. World-honored one, if good men and good women give rise to the mind of the supreme enlightenment, how should they dwell? How should they subdue their minds?" The Buddha said, "Excellent, excellent Subhūti. Just as you have said, the Tathagata skillfully protects and keeps in mind all bodhisattvas, and skillfully entrusts and instructs them. Now listen carefully, and I shall explain for you, good men and good women, who give rise to the mind of supreme enlightenment, should dwell thus, and thus should they subdue their minds." Subhūti replied, "Yes, world-honored one, I joyfully wish to hear." Chapter 2 introduced the origin of the Diamond Sutra. It began with a profound question from Venerable Subhūti. Seeing the Buddha seated, Subhūti rose from the assembly and bared his right shoulder, a traditional gesture of respect in the Sangha. He knelt on his right knee, joined his palms, and said, "Rare indeed, world-honored one. The Tathagata is ever skillful in protecting and instructing the bodhisattvas. Protecting means guarding the right mindfulness to keep the mind pure. Instructing means the constant teaching and reminding from the Buddha." Subhūti continued, "If good men and good women give rise to the mind of supreme enlightenment, how should they practice and dwell in the true emptiness? How should they subdue their minds?" Subhūti was one of the Buddha's 10 great disciples. In later generations, he was honored as foremost in understanding emptiness, meaning that he had a particularly deep realization of the wisdom of emptiness as taught by the Buddha. At this moment, he raises this question on behalf of good men and good women. Of course, those who give rise to this aspiration also include the Buddha's Arhat disciples. For those who have just begun to study the Dharma and have aroused the intention to attain Buddhahood, their greatest affliction is the instability of the mind. The mind wavers, unable to resist the temptations of 5 desires, and both body and mind are constantly carried away by various sensations and external conditions. For Arhats, who possess meditative stability, however, their primary challenge is the detachment and aversion to the world and their own body. To attain the perfect enlightenment, one must walk the Bodhisattva path. How can one dwell in this world with a gentle and compassionate heart, widely practice the Bodhisattva path, employing skillful means to liberate sentient beings? Although Arhats, through their concentration, are no longer disturbed by worldly illusions or pleasures, nor swayed by external conditions, their inclination towards the bliss of total cessation makes it difficult for them to give rise to compassion and actively engage in the world. Yet, compassion and wisdom are 2 inseparable aspects of emptiness. Emptiness without compassion is not the true emptiness realized by the Buddha. After hearing Subhūti's words, the Buddha praised him, saying, "Excellent Subhūti, what you have said is indeed correct. I have always instructed you to give rise to the aspiration for perfect enlightenment, and to continually guard and sustain your right mindfulness and pure mind without letting them be lost. Now listen carefully. If good men and good women give rise to the aspiration for unsurpassed, perfect enlightenment, they should dwell in this way, and subdue the affliction and distractions of their minds in this way." At this point, the Buddha would likely have paused. If you were a disciple of great purity, from the very beginning of the Diamond Sutra, observing the Buddha's calm and ordinary actions, and the way he now sits upon his seat, you might already perceive the state of non-abiding that the Buddha embodies. A mind without attachment, utterly pure, simply doing what needs to be done. The meaning of thus is precisely this. Just so, nothing more is needed. At the moment you asked the question, your mind was already settled. You were already dwelling in the now, and that is enough. If you are truly present, what is there left to subdue? Clearly, some disciples are not yet able to benefit from this wordless teaching. Thus, Subhūti responds, "Yes, what honored one, I joyfully wish to hear." The phrase "yes" here is like a simple acknowledgement, almost like "oh," or a brief pause of contemplation. He then says, "What honored one, I am now filled with joy and ready to listen to your teaching." In the teachings that follow, the Buddha will speak about the methods of practice and the right view that should be established.